let's start out with writing. Let's do that.
Yeah.
2 categories in writing: writing original and writing adapted. And let's get to. My app just crashed, so I need a second. The official Oscar app, by the way, just reset on me. Anyways, writing adapted: Argo, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Life of Pi, Lincoln, and Silver Linings Playbook. I didn't realize Beasts of the Southern Wild was adapted from something. I don't know what it's adapted from.
I have no idea.
The other ones
Dreams.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I wouldn't vote for it either way, but
Probably based on it's probably based on some sort of short story or something like that. That usually the one that is like I didn't realize it was based on anything is most likely a poem, a play, or a short story.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
So the ones I'm most interested in here: Life of Pi, Lincoln, and Silver Linings Playbook. I think. I've never read any of the material that these are based on, but, you know.
Have you read a history book, Andy?
No.
That's Lincoln for you.
Well, this was actually based on a book called The Political Genius of Lincoln or something like that. And it actually made me really want to read the book and see what was actually going on in there. Life of Pi, I thought it was complex and just the story itself was so interesting and so well told. I'm very curious to see what the book was like in that aspect as well, because you know it's just pretty complex in that way. And Silver Linings Playbook, it was just so good that I just want to see what the source material was like. Argo, I don't know what it was based on, but it seems like maybe news reports or classified CIA documents that were just declassified.
There was a magazine article.
Yeah. So I've read that story many times before, and it's an interesting story. But the film. It
might have been a Rolling Stone article, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like that's probably where it came from.
Yeah.
I think there's an obvious winner here. I just don't think there's any way Tony Kushner's not going to win this award for Lincoln.
Yeah.
Just the wordiness of it, which tends to win in some of these categories. The big name, he's definitely the biggest name of these writers here. Mm-hmm. And just I think that's what Lincoln was celebrated for, the film itself, not the person. Mm-hmm. So I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. The president was also celebrated for his screenplay. Let's not let's not sell him short. He had a great screenplay, the man himself. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln, excuse me. Lincoln's definitely my favorite of all of these. I think I was dreading this movie more than any movie in the year leading up to this. And I should have forgot because Kushner wrote Munich, which was the last Spielberg movie I really liked. And he seems to give Spielberg something that Spielberg's always lacked, which is a kind of intellectual toughness. Yeah. And I think that meshes really well with Spielberg's emotional clarity. I mean, if you had told me that he could take this topic and make it, at least for me, dramatically interesting, I would have said that there was just no way to do it. So that was my favorite.
The other thing I really loved about this is they picked a part of history that's not filmed to death.
Yeah. Right.
It wasn't. Let's see what happened the days before he was shot.
The log cabin.
It's like let's focus on this one part of history that nobody has really heard a lot about.
I was a little bummed that they didn't include anything about his vampire skills.
It seems like a problem. It was such a big part of his life, and
there's one film that I would like to nominate in this category. If I could. And it was really a surprise for me. It was The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I had it's a movie basically about high school love. Adopted from a young adult novel that did really well. Mm-hmm. Adapted, pardon me. Mm-hmm. And I really loved that movie. I was surprised. My nephew forced me to watch it because he liked it.
Yeah.
And I thought it did young love in a really interesting way and not condescending at all to them as youngsters, And it was really, really smart screenplay. And I kind of thought it might be nominated. There was some talk of it being nominated here, so that would be the one that I would throw in if I could.
Yeah. You've been totally silent this whole time.
I'm just ready for the will win and probably want to win.
Let's go.
I will go against the grain. I think Life of Pi has a good chance of winning. Yeah. I do. I don't know how typically people sort of let themselves vote. I have a strange feeling that at some point some Oscar people let their wives or their kids vote, and I think a lot of people have read the book.
Let's be honest, Jason, it's Oscar voters, probably grandkids.
That's true. That's true. So I just want to throw that one out as a dark horse because I was really impressed with how they could have adapted something like that so visually and so narratively and kept it all as a cohesive piece.
Yeah.
Also, it's a bestseller, so
right,
those
exactly.
usually tend to do well.
And
as well.
again, if it's, I don't know, like I said, if people look at sort of like, do they just see like writing and then just be like, okay, these are the best 5 in this side, and then look at original and go, okay, these are the best 5, or if they actually truly look at, okay, this was actually adapted from previous material. But again, with it being a bestseller, with it being a very popular book, with it still being a little bit warm by the time they made the movie, I think it has a good chance of winning kind of in a dark horse category. I do, though, want Silver Linings Playbook to win because I was just so thoroughly impressed on how they sort of adopted that to the screen.
Yeah. I think Lincoln will win. I think what you guys said is accurate. I also think it's sort of, when you're talking about something that was adapted, everything, basically I think everything that was good about this movie stems from the script and Daniel Day-Lewis. Those are the things that are good that make this movie good. So I think those are the things that need to be recognized. I would like Life of Pi to win because I just was blown away by that movie.
Kushner, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would like Beasts of the Southern Wild to win this one personally.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that Lincoln's going to win.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at writing for original screenplay and a couple of films that really aren't nominated elsewhere for the most part. There's Amour, Django Unchained, Flight, Moonrise Kingdom, and Zero Dark 30. So Moonrise Kingdom, this is its only nomination. That doesn't necessarily mean it's automatically going to win, but, original really kind of defines what Wes Anderson is doing, There's, he borrows a lot of shots, but he puts them together in such a way that he just creates his own visual style that is unmistakable to him. His dialogue is always really specific to what he's doing, to the point where other people have started to try to copy it, figure out what he's doing with that.
Yeah, it was really interesting them using that in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, that sort of awkward thing.
Yeah, it was so awkward.
When Luke Wilson popped up.
Yeah.
And he was,
Bill Murray shows up, as anti-Lincoln.
And if you're talking about an original story, two like preteens in 60s run away together to start a new life and are being chased by a scoutmaster. That's a pretty original story. So I gotta lean towards Moonrise Kingdom with this one.
As the one that you want to win?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen Amour yet, and it hasn't come to town.
Right.
It's I know it's playing with the Oscar nominees for Best Picture in 2 weekends at the AMC cinemas.
Yeah.
I might actually go see it then before it hits IU cinema because I really want to see it.
Yeah.
I think that one actually has a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this would be the category where there could be, not one of the big. Well, I guess there's Zero Dark 30 would probably be the favorite in this category. So I would say Amour is going to win just based on the fact that it's been nominated for so many awards and probably won't win those other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Moonrise Kingdom as my personal favorite of these, and even though I agree with you about Amour, to me Zero Dark 30, I think the script is it's just too controversial. I don't think they're going to want to touch it. And personally, as much as I love that film, I would pick Moonrise Kingdom script over it, probably. And I'll say, it wouldn't surprise me if Amour won, but I'll say Moonrise Kingdom for the win, too.
I'll give a little shout out to Django.
Yeah.
I think it might have a good chance of winning. Without having seen all of the movies, it's really hard for me to kind of go with what I think will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Amour doesn't win just based off of what I've heard of it. But in terms of originality, I guess Django, compared to everything else that Tarantino has done, isn't quite that original. But I thought it did some really interesting things. I thought there was a lot of interesting characterization that really he pulled off quite a bit. I think Flight is just one of those movies that just didn't fly.
Yeah,
if I were to use it as a pun.
This was in theaters for like 3, 4, 5 weeks, and I thought, yeah, looks kind of interesting. I had no idea I was going to get nominated for Oscars when it was in town, or else I would have gone to see it.
I saw it. I really liked it, to be honest. It's the first, I was saying during the break that it's the first Zemeckis film that I've probably maybe ever liked, to be honest. But I don't think it has a chance in this category.
Yeah.
There's some heavy hitters here that...
Yeah. A film I would really like to have seen nominated, first mentioned today, Holy Motors. I don't know if it was adapted from something. I don't know if it was an original story. I'm hoping it was an original story. I can't imagine the mind that conceived of this film. But, yeah, I mean, it was just exceptional. And, again, you have to start somewhere. And starting with a script, the idea that some guy's going around and all these appointments and just how well it was constructed, that has to stem from the script.
Yeah.
You can't show up on set and just create that movie out of thin air. So
David Cronenberg tried it with Cosmopolis, and that was a horrible failure. One that I thought should have been nominated here is Rian Johnson for Looper. Which Looper is one of my top 5 films of the year. I loved it, and I thought it was original. I mean, time travel in itself isn't original, but the way it handled it. I was hoping that it would get some kind of nod here, but it didn't.
Yeah, I'd give a shout out to Joe Carnahan's script for The Grey, which I thought was like a great kind of Jack London, Sam Peckinpah kind of film, and I thought that was from the guy who directed The A-Team.
Right.
Smoking Aces, that's a really good film.
Yeah, much love for The Grey from this side of the table. That was a film that I don't even know what drew me to it, but I took my wife to see it, and I think she actually was more excited about it than I was. Such a great movie, and such strong material behind it. So I hadn't even thought of that, but I'm glad you mentioned it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be like torn if I see any of these films sort of take it. But
I would like any one of these to win. It'd be fine.
Yeah. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.